Shalom. Before I begin this video, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well to this day. That's continually feeding the flock through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And also shalom to the whole elect that is also laboring this work. It's giving you due diligence to make your calling and election sure in faith, in truth and sincerity, and in all charity. Now, the topic of this video, I'm going to entitle it as E, the Wicked Son. All right, and which is pretty much laying backing off of, you know, the precepts that was brought out at the camp today, and basically we went into the topic of Esau being the son of Isaac, in which we know in this truth, and also he that had the ear, let him hear. And if you can receive it, Isaac was, or should I say Yahweh Shai was Isaac in the reincarnation. Okay. So with Isaac, which we all know is the Lord, who is the Lord Yahweh Shai, gave birth, or out of his loins came Jacob, which is the seed of the righteous, but also Esau, all right, which is the brother of Jacob, who is the seed of wickedness. All right, and how do we know that? Malachi, the first chapter, where it speaks about Esau, the wicked, being which then also as well, his name was changed to Edom, which means red. All right, which is Adawam, which means red. And that is the true biblical nationality of the so-called white man. Okay? So like the scripture says in Malachi, the first chapter, it says that he is the border of wickedness. Okay? That's the man of sin that the scripture is speaking about. Okay? Now, pursuant to Esau, and how the dynamic of when the blessing was given over to Jacob to have the dominion and rulership, and what was given to Esau was the fatness of the earth and the dew thereof, and he gave him the sword. Okay? But Esau, being the man of wickedness, all right, that wicked son, he has done certain acts, which is done through prophecy, all right, because Esau was appointed the lot of being a wicked. Okay? And so, that being said, the Lord was going to have it to where Esau was going to commit iniquity, all right? And he's still committing iniquity to this very day. Okay? You know, you can't change who you are. All right? No matter how much Esau tries to change his demeanor or to do some sort of thing that is what he calls righteous, he still goes off, man. No matter what he does, he still commits wickedness. No matter what he does and try to set out to do, is in the end of it, it's going to be death. All right? Why? Because it's his lot to be the wicked. Okay? Because he doesn't know righteousness, and it's far from him. Okay? He was to be a servant of sin. All right? But pursuant to the scriptures, right? In particular, Ezekiel, the 18th chapter, in the 10th verse, this is concerning a man that begets a son. Okay, in this case, Isaac begat Jacob and Esau. Okay, so starting at verse 10, this is what it says, and this is concerning Esau or Edom. All right, which once again is the nationality of the so-called white man, all right, in which the code name we give them is E, all right. So this is talking about E, okay. Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 10. It says, if he begat a son that is a robber, a shedder of blood, and that doeth like to any one of these things, and that doeth not any of those duties, right, which I just read in verse 10, but even hath eaten up upon the mountains. So it's even still, if he hasn't done any of these things according to verse 10, but if you still eat upon the mountains, right, defile his neighbor's wife, hath oppressed the poor and needy, hath spoiled by violence, have not restored the pledge, and have lifted up his eyes to the idols, hath committed abomination, hath given forth upon usury, and have taken increase. Shall he then live? Shall he then live? He shall not live. He hath done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. See? So this is concerning Esau, man. If you read through this, man, verse 10 through 13, this is all Esau, man. This is exactly what he has done. All right, and if I may, I want to go ahead and go through the list, man. All right. So if I start at verse 10, right? If he begot a son that is a robber, right? In which he is a robber. Let me get that. It's like it. Bear with me for a moment. I'm switching to this app that I have here. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And how is that done? Through their legislation. Okay, the laws that they have put into place here in America, which, of course, and it's obvious that it's not for our people. All right, really, those laws are for the benefit of Esau or Edomites. All right, and not just your regular everyday Joey six-pack Edomite. No, man, these are for the betterment and the benefit of the higher ups of Esau. Okay, they can care less about the lower level Edomites of their own nation. They really in it for themselves. Okay, they don't regard their own people of their own nation that's below them. Okay, and when I speak about them, I'm talking about the bankers. Okay, the people that you never hear about. Okay, the banking families. Which the top banking family is the Rothschilds. Okay. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Right. Because the Most High has punished us by putting us in these different captivities. They've robbed us, man. All right, they robbed us of our commonwealth and our identity. Okay, our heritage, our way of living, and our mentality, man. And really, he wants us back in hardcore bondage. Okay, as it used to be. That's why a statement was made by DJ Trump saying to make America great again. America was great when we was in hardcore bondage. All right, in the fields, man. That's what they want. All right, but the point here is that that they may rob the fatherless, man. All right, why? Because the Most High stopped dealing with us. But through His Son, Yahweh Shai, who these people inwardly call Jesus, He has reconciled us back to the Most High. Okay? So the Most High wasn't going to leave us out high and dry just to die in the end, man. This is not the end of Jacob's story. Okay? Because actually we're about to get into the beginning of a new age for Jacob. Okay? Because Esau's going to be the end of this current world, and Jacob is going to be the beginning of the next world. Okay? So I'm going to go back. So again, back at Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 10, if he begot a son that is a robber, a shedder of blood, right? And a shedder of blood, that being, let me grab Ezekiel. See, starting with the apostle elders of Great Millstone on down, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, this is the court sentence. Okay? The court is in session. Esau is the plaintiff. All right? If I'm correct. Or he's in the hot seat, should I say. Okay? Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. All right? And that perpetual hatred means an everlasting hatred. Okay? A hatred that lasts forever. And hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, which was that blessing that was given to them. In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right? So he's a shedder of blood, man. And he has not hated blood. Actually, he loves it, man. He revels in it. All right? Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. See if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That's why blood is on the heels of these Edomites. They can't run away from it. All right? Now it's the time for Edom to answer to the blood that's been shed. All right? Specifically the blood of the nation of Israel. Okay? Esau can't run for too long, man. That's why he's known as a fugitive. A fugitive on the run, man. Okay? Back in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 10, if he begot a son that is a robber, a shedder of blood, and that doeth the like to any one of these things, and that doeth not any of those duties, right? But even eateth upon the mountains, and defileth his neighbor's wife. Now let me get that real quick. In which the mountains, right? The mountains represents the governments. Okay. See, not only did Edom swallow up the governments of Israel, but he also swallowed up the governments of these other nations, man. All right, and that's in his nature. All right, he's a warmonger, man. No, it's not Nahum. It's Habakkuk. It's Lucky. It's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death. All right? He's known as hell, and he's known as death. And is a nugget, Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter and 5th verse, going into this. This is what's going to be cast into the lake of fire, man. All right? The nation of Edom, its wickedness, the people that love this society, all are going to take part in the lake of fire, man. It says, who enlarges desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And out of all those nations and people, he heaped to himself the nation of Israel by taking on the nationality of being a Jew, in which he's not a Jew. All right? He called himself Jewish. All right? Pursuant to Revelations, the 2nd chapter, 9th verse, and Revelations, the 3rd chapter, and the 9th verse, the ones that call themselves Jews but are not, but of the synagogue of Satan. All right? also as well in this scripture in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 11, it says him that defileth his neighbor's wife, right? In which Esau is all about that, man. You know, it's not going to take, it doesn't take a huge breakdown to show you that Esau is the man of sin, all right? So these are one of the acts that he commits, man. Oh, case in point, they show you that in these different slavery pieces, okay? So they will take our woman, right, and they will pop them, man. All right, whether they were promised to by another Israelite, or if they were married already, he will still take his wife and pop them, man. Pop the wife, man, when they're married. Okay, so this man has a lot to answer for, man. Okay, verse 12, and hath oppressed the poor and needy, right? And he hath oppressed the poor and needy, man. All right, and he still does it to this very day. Okay, let me get Job chapter 20, should be at verse 19. It's the book of Job chapter 19. Let's lock it. Job chapter 20, verse 19. He says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. All right. So this man takes away an house that he builded not, man. A foundation that he didn't lay down. Okay, and call it his own. That's why he's a fugitive. That's why anything that he gets into is not his own, man. All right. Because it was a time to where Esau was destitute. Okay, it was driven into the mountains, the caves, man. It was reduced to that of what these scholars call a Neanderthal, caveman, a cave dweller. Okay, having no knowledge, no language, and no sense of I would say humanity, so to speak, or have some sort of moral code. All right. Read again at verse 19. It said, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. All right. Let's sit on that. So back at verse Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 12. Hath oppressed the poor and needy, hath spoiled by violence, right? And this is a violent man. Okay, everything that he does and takes is by violence. All right, and this man, again, like I just read earlier in Ezekiel the 35th chapter, he does not stray away from blood. All right. Grab Matthew. It's like in Matthew chapter 11. And this is at verse 12. All right. It says, and from the days of John the Baptist until now. Okay. And really, that's going into right now in this time. Okay. Because not only was that going on during the time of John the Baptist, during the time when Yahushua was in the flesh, and the apostles, right? It's also going on to this very day. So this is what's happening. It says, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. See? So the kingdom of heaven, and who's the kingdom of heaven? Israel. All right? So the kingdom of heaven suffer violence, man. Israel suffers violence at the hands of Esau. Okay, and Esau, being the violent man, has taken Israel by force. All right, that's why if you go into Exodus, it speaks about a person that stealeth a man, and that man be found in his hands. Guess what? He shall surely be put to death. Okay. back in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 12, it says, hath oppressed the poor and needy, hath spoiled by violence, hath not restored the pledge. Now, if you go into the pledge, right, let me get that word pledge. And my app might go out on me. So, you know, it does this every time. Oh, never mind. Why they talking about Shemel Shai? All right, so the word there is chabal, right? Now this one it says pledge, right? But if you go into this one right here, it says this is the root word, but this is actually the word itself. It says to bind, okay? To bind, to take a pledge, lay to pledge, okay? If you go into the Merriam-Webster dictionary, which I don't have up right now, I don't have it queued up, but if you go into the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it shows that a pledge is something that's binding. All right, you know, basically like a contract. All right, you know, something that you would give your word to pay. Okay, and what binds us? What binds the nation of Israel? All right, the covenant. All right. So when Esau, or should I say Amalek, be specific, when Amalek took on our nationality, that's basically a form of them taking our covenant. All right, and they took our nationality as a spoil. All right, and used it for their own benefit, man. Why? Because everybody has to be subservient in a certain way under the state of Israel. All right. So that's why when you go into Ezekiel 18 chapter 13 verse again, it's like the 12th verse, it says he hath not restored the pledge. All right, because he hasn't restored our people. All right, and the higher ups of Esau, they know who we are. They know they know our nationality, and they know that the covenant belongs to us, man. The service of the Most High, the law, statutes, and commandments, all that belongs to us, man. All right, but guess what? He's not going to restore it. Why? Because when he does that, his kingdom is finished. All right, so that's why he's not going to restore the pledge. Okay, I believe it's like it. Grab Isaiah 42. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. See? So Esau being our main adversary, along with these other nations, they're not going to restore Israel back to what it was before. They're not going to restore our nationality and what belongs to us. No, man, because they have too much riding on what they have right now. All right, so that's why none say restore. Okay, because it was a time the nation of Israel was putting harsh hell on these different nations, man. All right. And they knew, and they still know to this very day, that the power is with us, man. The Most High, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shai, is with us. That's why back in the ancient world, they did not want to come up against Israel at all because of that. All right. Now I'm going to go back to Ezekiel 18 chapter, the 12th verse again. It says, hath not restored the pledge, and have lifted up his eyes to the idols, have committed an abomination. Okay. Now, grab I want to grab Psalms, but I think it's pretty much passed on it. But I'm gonna grab Isaiah. Chapter 2. It's Isaiah chapter 2, verse 7, right? It says, their land also is full of silver and gold. Neither is there any end of their treasures, right? And that's true. There's no end to the treasures of these elites, man. They have all that hearts can wish. Okay? So when you go into the scriptures, really just talking about the higher ups of Esau, man. All right? And the land of Babylon, which they've set up. So again, it says their land is full of silver and gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land is also full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. Their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made. And that's true. All right. This land of America, you look everywhere. All right. If you have the spiritual eye salve, if you look everywhere, man, everywhere is full of idolatry. Everywhere you go, man. From the store that you go to, all right, from your day-to-day places that you go to, it's nothing but idol worship. All right. This land is defiled with idols and abominations. They worship the work of their own hands, man, because they don't want to give credit to the Most High and what He made. They believe that what they make and what they put into practice is better than what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai set up. Trying to be the Most High, man, in which they're not. Okay. Verse 9, it says, and the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. So there is no forgiveness for Esau, man. Okay. Back at Ezekiel 18. Verse 13. Have given forth upon usury, and have taken increase. Okay. This is back at Habakkuk, right? In which we went into that in the count today, man. Habakkuk chapter 2. And it's at verse 6, continuing on, right? It says, shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Now the word clay goes back to the Hebrew word abathiath, which means debt. Okay. And with that debt system, which again we went to at the camp, that debt system, which is based on credit. All right. So if you have credit, you have a certain amount of debt that you have to pay back. On top of that, they put usury. All right. So when they get that money back, all right, they add onto it to where you pay more than what you did, than what you supposed to pay. And that's wickedness, man. All right. Because the way it's supposed to work is that if you were to do some sort of credit, all right, in which that's what Israel did, man. Israel, our people, all right, the nation of Israel back in the ancient world, will have a system to where we'll let someone borrow, right? We'll let one of our own people borrow money or some sort of substance. They would have to pay that back, but we were not supposed to add unto that, man. Okay, so that's why the scriptures speak against usury. Okay, so if I give a brother, $50 or whatnot, all right, and I let him borrow it, he's supposed to give me back $50, right? And that's simple and plain. But Esau, if you borrow $50 from Esau, right? I use that example. If you borrow $50 from him, guess what? You have to pay back 100. All right, you may have to pay back 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 to pay off interest. And that's what usury is. Usury is interest. Okay. So again, verse 13, it says, have given forth upon usury and have taken increase. Shall he then live? No, he's not going to live. All right. He shall not live. He had done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. Right. And the blood is upon Esau right now, man. He has to answer to all of these things, which I just read. All right. These are the proceedings. These are the hearings in the court. And Esau has to answer to that, man. All right. And nobody's gonna stand up to and defend for Esau, because he's done all these things, man. He's done all these things, and he's a wicked man. All right. So that being said, Esau's through. Okay. The rule of Esau, Edom, which is the true biblical nationality, the so-called white man, is finished. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end off on that note. Lord's willing, it was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Till next time, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Also, shalom, peace and safety, and salutations to the hopeful elect that is also teaching in his word, that's spreading this ministry and this gospel to the other members of the hopeful elect in faith and truth and sincerity and all charity. And with that, we'll go to shalom.